Not now, honey. I have to finish this.
Welcome all to a quick look at Mirror's Edge on the Xbox One. Now the final release has hit us, all again thanks to the joys of EA's Vault. The focus here is looking at what has improved from the beta and have they improved the image quality and the performance over that release earlier this year. So the first thing we're looking at is it's the same game. You play exactly as you did from the beta, so you work through the exact same missions and starting that we've already experienced. The game was pretty much finished then. It was just a case of testing the online servers. This game is always connected and everything you do is shared with the community. Not that that makes that much of a difference, but it is something to bear in mind. Being a remake of the original, which was much loved and although not a massive hit, it was a cult favourite. So this game does have some pedigree to live up to, and they've done a reasonably good job in keeping that feeling the same and also improving it, and obviously adding the open world dynamic time of day, which includes a very extensive and exhaustive global illumination system. Light seems to bounce off every colour. Reds, greens, oranges, every primary colour you can think of does get used here, and across day, night, interior and exterior. The screen space solution and the global illumination does work very well. I'll go into more detail when I take a deep dive look at the engine overall, but here it does work incredibly well to deliver that cartoon book and bright ambient feel throughout play. Now, one of the main gripes of the beta was obviously the actual frame rate sometimes wasn't as consistent, and also the image quality on consoles was very subpar, helped immensely by its IQ use of motion blur, which did lower the quality, and it was a very low quality itself, probably quarter resolution. Now, one of the big changes here is they've completely dropped the motion blur. That's right, the game runs completely without it now, and it does look a lot better for it. In addition to that, it also looks like they've improved or at least added extra work on the TAA solution, the temporal anti-aliasing solution in the game, which does smooth out the edges. It actually helps the Xbox One 720 resolution that remains to look far sharper than it did before. The loss or lack of motion blur is normally something that I would chastise, but this is not the case here. Due to the fact that I don't think the implementation was that strong on consoles, and of course due to the artifacting it caused regularly throughout play, it actually just kind of muddied the screen far more. So I think the best choice here is removing it, which is what they've done, which I most certainly approve of, and it does overall improve the IQ. Sadly, the image quality doesn't improve any more than that due to the fact that the texture work is still not as consistent. The actual quality of the textures seems very similar, if not identical, to the beta, so it wasn't as low as we thought, and this is hampered by the fact that the game does use a large streaming process, which means regularly parts in the game textures don't load in, or objects don't load in, or load in very slowly. Very reminiscent of mega textures on Doom. It's not usually a problem you'd notice due to your parkour skills going rampant across the rooftops of the city, but it is an area that could have done with more work and improvement, but it's not going to affect your enjoyment of the game. Streaming does happen throughout play, and like I say, the whole game is based around that open level design, and you can run anywhere and go anywhere, so this is something that they have to deal with. Performance wise, we're looking at a game that has improved again on the beta we saw on the Xbox One. Alpha effects now return, which were missing from the PS4 version, and the glitches and areas on LOD issues from distant viewing or jumping through glass and reflections have all been changed. They've also made a change to the cube maps and reflections on walls, now hiding some of the low quality that is there. There does seem to be a change sometimes to shadows as well, even lower quality at points, and this may be some of the areas they've done for quick wins to bring this performance back. But overall, the lacking of the post effects I don't think is going to add the kind of improvement we're seeing here. It may help slightly, but I think the game has been improved and tweaked. I expect the PS4 version to look the same, i.e. dropping the motion blur, but obviously with the improved resolution, but the PC version to be the clearest so long as you have the hardware, and obviously the extra options that it has. The options here have also been added in the menu. You can now improve your field of view and stretch it out as far as you like, which again is a very welcome touch, one we saw in Doom, and I hope one we'll see in many games going forward. It certainly improves the game and the sense of speed. So it is a very welcome addition, but performance does work much better. We don't see regular dips now into the 40s that we saw on the beta, and in combat you're only seeing drops of a few frames, but this one issue does still remain, and again we brings it back to the streaming issues. We still get dips down to 55, 54 at regular points as you're running through large sections of the game, which you can see on screen. It can actually feel more than that due to the fact that it's not single 33 millisecond spikes that you normally get. It's actually full 100 millisecond hangs, which you can see and feel obviously far more often with this loading issue. So therefore it does feel slightly worse than it actually is, but overall it doesn't hamper enjoyment of the game. Just be prepared for it. It is kind of consistent as you play. But overall the game is an improvement on the beta, both in performance on quite a good degree and in image quality overall. They have listened to feedback and they have dropped that motion blur, which is the best choice here. If you enjoyed your time in the beta, you now get a better performing and much cleaner looking game across the Xbox One and most likely all other versions. So this is a benefit, along with the additional options for field of view, and they may even fix these small spikes when a day one patch hits later on. We will have to wait and see. Anyway, that's my time up. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll leave you with a few more minutes of footage. If you have any thoughts and feedback, please leave them below. If you enjoyed this or anything else that I've put together, please think about subscribing and supporting the channel. You guys and girls take care, and I'll see you very soon on the next one.